Welcome back to the Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to me about you and your business. Continuing my conversation with Frank Granett. He's a regular contributor here on the Price of Business with CAOOY.org, a great organization that's helping people understand the dangers of over-medicating young people in particular, but I would say everyone when it comes to ADD and ADHD medication. And always delighted to have you on the program. Love it when you bring on great guests. Today is no exception. Frank, tell us about your guests.
Yeah, Dr. Linda Lagemann, the work that she's doing now across the country, helping people educate towards the treatment process. What we have to do is rule out the underlying cause before we go to this premature drug therapy, especially in our young child population. And what she has done, she is now actually has another, expert testimony in the hearings that went down in your neck of the woods, Kevin, in New Mexico. They just passed a law in the state of New Mexico, and it deals with psychotropic and psychoactive medications in young children as far as the screening process in school-age children. And, Dr. Lagemann, as a Department of Medicine professor at the University of California, how do you feel about this bill briefly, as far as getting across the country, as far as other states taking a look at this bill and seeing if they can kind of enact that into their own states to help children, give that child a voice before premature drug therapy?
This bill is a model bill, and it does need to be enacted across the country. So, any listeners, their state, they should be looking at getting something similar, and I'm going to be working on that as well. I think people don't realize, and often people I talk to, they're shocked to learn that they are not protected in ways they think they are, and that this bill is the strongest bill we have right now, and it just signed into law last month in New Mexico.
Yeah, interesting. How long have you been involved, particularly on the public policy side of all this?
Just like the last year in terms of testifying and doing hearings and things like that, and I've done some work on Capitol Hill. Just about that amount of time. The last 3 years really immersing myself in the research and knowing what's going on here and then what we need to do, because it is about for stopping the damage. That this is education, educating teachers, parents, doctors, but then getting legislation passed. I'm not counting on the pharmaceutical industry stopping the they're a for-profit business. They're not a public service, and they're doing everything possible to have customers. And Department of Justice, I leave it to them. They've gone after some of the big drug companies and gotten them to plead guilty to criminal and civil charges for some of the practices and concealing information and this kind of thing, and illegal marketing and false claims and all that. But what we can do is, the public can demand changes in their schools, with their Board of Education, and then we can get legislation passed.
Dr. Lagemann, what is that 1, 2, 3 step in that law, that bill that just got passed in New Mexico? If you can explain to our listeners just real brief, that 1, 2, 3,
Sure.
What's the biggest impact, for parents and, and children especially to help them out? Could you explain those to our listeners? What that...
The bill does 3 things, and this is what I would encourage other people to get passed in their states. First, it says that the school cannot do any psychological screening or testing of their child without prior written consent. This is very important because these screening tests have been revealed, have been written by psychiatrists paid by the pharmaceutical industry. They're more like drug sign-up days rather than legitimate screening. So they can't do screening without parents' written consent. Second thing is that the school cannot coerce or pressure parents to place their child on a psychotropic drug. And this is the biggest complaint I hear across the country, actually, is parents saying that they were only given one option and they were told if they don't put their child on this drug, they're going to have to remove them, or their kid will become a drug addict and won't graduate school, all kinds of scare tactics. And I think it's because the teachers have been misinformed by the whole industry. A lot of misinformation is out there because we're talking about big money interests here. And then the third part of the bill is that a parent's refusal to administer a prescribed psychiatric drug is not grounds by itself for protective custody. This is one that is really a shocker for people to know that if they don't codify this in their state, it's up to the interpretation of whatever particular child protective service worker, and they could say, hey, a doctor prescribed this amphetamine for your child, you're not administering it. That's medical neglect. We need to remove the child from the home. And this has happened.
Wow, has there been backlash in that state? Have you noticed? I know it's only been a month, Dr. Lagemann. Is there backlash yet on that bill passing, or what's the latest on that?
No. And the thing is, with proper information, I really made the rounds. I met with so many representatives and senators. I was having days where I had 16 meetings a day to answer questions, give them the information. When people have the actual facts, the bill ended up passing unanimously. But I got to tell you, it was a nail biter. It almost died a couple times. But through education, this is why I have so much faith in educating people. They recognize the information, they recognize truth when they see it, and then it ended up passing unanimously. This is remarkable.
Yeah, it's amazing. I want to make sure you give the best website again for people to keep up with what you're doing.
Yeah, so cchrint.org. It has a lot of information. It's the oldest and largest organization of its kind that's got things about parents' rights. It's got all the information about the adverse effects of drugs. It's kind of a clearinghouse of information. That's the best for people to get educated.
Very interesting. Frank?
And our website is CAOOY.org, and you can go to that site, ask questions. It'll go to right to my email box, and that's what I do nationwide is consult parents and educators on what to do if your child or an adult has ADHD symptoms. How do you go after and assess, work with the physician on finding that true cause, what is actually causing those symptoms. And when you do a comprehensive assessment, we can get kids back on the right track before the premature use of psychoactive medication in our young child population.
Very good. Make sure you get that. Check out those websites. Also, I'm sure we're going to soon have an article there at both priceofbusiness.com and U.S. Daily Review by Frank about our content today, as usual. And thanks to both of you for a great segment. Actually, two great segments.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks, Dr. Lagemann.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to remind the listener, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter, and you're listening to The Price of Business.